Hi! Oh man, it's been a long time. Today I want to talk about my thoughts on All Out, what the matches seemed to imply about certain things about AEW's focus, and then I want to talk about Impact Wrestling actually, and some of the moves they've been making, and then I have a tinfoil hat theory. Like, trust me, this is a tinfoil of a hat theory, but about that. But we'll get to that. So, All Out and the matches and what they thought they meant, and then Impact Wrestling and all the stuff they're doing. So, let's get into it. At All Out, I thought the women's battle royale, it was better than the men's. It wasn't hard, there wasn't any stupid gimmicks like people in baby oil and somebody there with no legs and somebody there who's like a teenager. No, I'm sorry. Like, I couldn't take it serious enough. But with the women's casino battle royale, it was definitely good. It was totally dominated by Nyla Rose. She was just tossing people around like crazy. And people are saying, like, oh, it's a safety issue, it's a safety issue. I don't know. I don't know either way. I don't have anything against her. I wish her all the best. I really do. It's wrestling. You can make it seem like freaking Rey Mysterio would defeat Kevin Nash. But Nyla Rose won the Women's Casino Battle Royale. I thought that was a good choice. They showed her strength. And they showed that she has a lot of in-charge focus. And I think if AEW does create a mixed division, then that could be really interesting. Definitely. That could be really interesting. But Nyla Rose won the first one. And then after that, Angelico and Jack Evans lost to a Private Party. Angelico and Jack Evans are the best tag team. I don't know why they lost. The thing is, they said Private Party was going to be in the first round against the Young Bucks, right? And they're going against the friggin' the Angelico and Jack Evans now. You know they're going to win. Everybody knew. You already said that they were going to be in the first fucking round of the playoffs. Like, they lost a lot of face on that, man. And now they're saying card subject to change. It could not be me or Jericho in the match. Like, come on, you know you are. You know, it's actually going to look really bad for AEW if Cody Rhodes versus Chris Jericho stays. It will, because now they're coming out and saying it could change, because the last time it was so obvious that Chris Jericho is going to win. But yeah, the booking, like the Women's Casino Battle Royale, Nyla Rose won, Angelico and Jack Evans lost, which was stupid because people already knew they were going to lose, so Private Party won the second match. Then SCU defeated Jurassic Express. That match sucked. I didn't really like it. And then it was Rio versus Shida. That was a good match. Rio versus Shida was All Out was a good match. That was like my second most favorite match of the night. It really was. Yeah. And then it was the Best Friends versus the Dark Idiots. The Dark Order. Man, I can't stand the Dark Order. Fuck, those guys are... Evil Uno is an asshole. He's an out-of-weight, like, terrible-looking asshole. I can't stand him. Oh, God, I can't stand that guy. Anyway, yeah. So, the Dark Order won that match. And then it was Kenny Omega versus Pac was the best match of the night. Bar none. Bar none. And apparently they were both pissed off after the match. Not at each other. No. They're both pissed off that they didn't have the extra time they wanted to do the match that they had laid out because it was going to be crazy intense. They was supposed to go all out. It was all out. That's the name of the fucking pay-per-view, All Out. That was not nearly all out. It was a fucking good match, though. And then after that, it was the Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers in a table match in a ladder match for the AAA tag team titles. Which I don't give a shit about it. I'm sorry, I don't care. It's not AEW. I'm not going to start watching another promotion. No. Not if it's affiliated. No. It doesn't feel like it's genuine enough. But yeah, anyway, the Lucha Brothers won that match. And then in the finals, it was Chris Jericho versus Hangman Page. And Hangman Page is going against, Chris Jericho. And it's true. He did draw a lot of heads. He really did. You asked me, how did you hear about all AEW? And I says, well, I check wrestling. I always like wrestling. And then it came up in the feed one day. Chris Jericho signs with All Elite Wrestling. And I remember thinking, oh, for fuck's sakes, another promotion, man. There's enough out there. Why don't you just go to Impact? Like, why do you have to support another small, stupid company? Like, can't we just get behind one name? I'm sorry, it's just too much. And then I realized what AEW is. And that's another video. That's another video. That's another video. I can't talk about that right now. I'll go off. Yeah, but Jericho won that match. You knew he was going to win. He did. Everybody knew it. I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did. I really am. It would have been nice if New Japan Pro Wrestling would have let him win their heavyweight championship, and then he would, win the AEW championship, and then that would have put his legacy up really, really high, really, really, really high. But New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then Jon Moxley, it was the New Japan Pro Wrestling United States champion. If he would have went to All Out, he could have put his title on the line against Kenny Omega. That would have been huge. But yeah, Chris Jericho won the heavyweight title. And they're talking about a TV title now. One other thing I want to add to the match results is that Rio had a win in a triple threat match at Fyter Fest, and that put her in a singles match at All Out for a shot at the women's title. Britt Baker won a fatal 4-way at Double or Nothing, right? And then went to All Out because that punched her ticket to go to All Out. But when she got to All Out, instead of being in a singles match, she was thrown in a match with 21 other competitors, women who didn't even compete in AEW at all. Like, some of them weren't employed; they were just there to participate in the match. And meanwhile, Shida, fucking stupid shit. Shida, she won a triple threat. No, she won a 6-man tag match or 6-woman tag match. That's all she did. I'm sorry, a 6-woman tag match is not the friggin' same thing as winning a singles match. It's true. It should have been a Rio versus Britt Baker, and then Allie versus Brandy Rhodes. That's what it should have been. And I think Britt Baker should have went on to the finals. Brandy Rhodes to go to the finals, but Britt Baker to take it. That's what I think would be better. Then after that, maybe Bae Priestley or Sadie Kims might do a lot. But the TV title, I don't know, man. I wouldn't really call it. I wouldn't call it a TV title. If I was the AEW, I would just call it, you know what, the light heavyweight title. This is the light heavyweight. Here's the light heavyweight championship, or the middleweight championship, because it makes it sound more technical. Sometimes the middleweight is better for what you want to do, right? The middleweight championship, and it would basically be for guys 205 and less. They do need their own championship. So to me, it should be the middleweight championship. To me, if I was a wrestler, I'd rather have something called the middleweight championship than something called the light heavyweight championship. I don't want the word light in there. Just call it the middleweight championship. But that's what it should be. It does, because I can't see guy. I love the guy, I really do. But Sonny Kiss, who I'm a big fan of, I cannot see him winning against Hangman Page or Chris Jericho or Jon Moxley, or Dustin Rhodes. I'm sorry. No, don't give me that crap that Dustin Rhodes is bad. Vince always had it out for the Rhodes family. Dustin Rhodes, man, he won every title in WWE except for the heavyweight title. Same thing with his brother, and I think the same thing with his father. But 3 generations were denied the heavyweight title. Don't talk to me about Dustin Rhodes. I'll just go off. I'll go off. Yeah, no. Okay, that's AEW and Dustin Rhodes are 2 different conversations. Okay, that's what AEW is doing. They had Nyla Rose win, push her controversy. They had Private Party win over Angelico and Jack Evans. Whatever, we already knew. Then they had CU win over Jurassic Express. They pissed me off because of Marco's stunt, so whatever. And then Rio punches her ticket to the Women's Heavyweight Championship match. That's good. And then Pac wins over Omega. I hope that means Pac is going to come into AEW instead of showing up and doing one show. Commit to something, man. Yeah. And then after him, the Lucha Brothers defeated the Young Bucks, and Chris Jericho defeated Hangman Page. Prolongs his legacy. Would have been nice to have New Japan Pro Wrestling's Heavyweight Championship with him, and Moxley's United States Championship in there too on the line, and confirming the relationship with CM Punk showing up. I think that's what they were going for. They fell kind of short. They fell really short. Man. But anyway, that's what AEW is doing. And now the middleweight championship, and their show is starting on October 2nd in Full Gear. Cody Rhodes is in Full Gears for November 9th. I can't remember where it's to. And that could change because they're saying, so card subject to change. They really should have put that all out, but whatever, they didn't. Anyway, that's what AEW is doing. Now on to Impact Wrestling. Okay. Alright there, Impact Wrestling. That's what you want? Alright. That is the reaction I would have to Impact Wrestling if they were talking to me about what they want, and I was the guy who could do it. Impact Wrestling, well, their parent company, Anthem Sports and Entertainment, but to me, I just say Impact Wrestling because it's going to be done for them anyway. Impact Wrestling bought out ASX TV so they could put their channel, so they could put the show on the channel, which owns Fite TV. They bought their own TV deal. Now they're talking about buying out Ring of Honor. And and just before that, they announced all travel and accommodations for Impact Wrestling will be paid for. And the Impact Plus app is getting really big, and if they could include Ring of Honor, it would be even bigger. And merge the 2 titles at Bound for Glory. Bound for Glory is a wicked name for a pay-per-view. But Impact Wrestling, man. Okay, you're sitting here and you're telling me, hey, this is what I want to do. I'm Impact Wrestling, and I'm talking to you. And I'm saying, this is what I want to do. I'm trying to get a deal with ASX TV, but they won't give me a deal, so I'm just going to buy them and put my show on it. Done. Okay. Now I want to buy out Ring of Honor. Done. Okay. Now I want to control and own Fite TV. Done. Now I want to take all the video library of Ring of Honor and add it into the Impact Plus app, merge their titles with ours at Bound for Glory, and have a huge ass pay-per-view and a merging of the rosters. And it's going to be like a 3-show event. That would be better. Ring of Honor's library and Impact Wrestling's library like mixed together in one app service. You pay $10 a month for it now, and it's worth it. They don't have everything on it though. Once they get everything, there's like from 2008 to 2012. It's hard to get those years, I find, of Impact Wrestling or TNA, whatever they were. But they're getting a lot of stuff, and they come to me and say, I'm gonna fucking, ASX TV won't give me a fucking TV deal. I'll buy ASX TV. Ring of Honor's pissing me off. I'll buy Ring of Honor. I will take all the freaking video library and put it in with my service, and then I'll be on an extra 50 million homes and a much widely more accessed channel with our own Impact Plus thing building, because we own the channel. We can give whatever products we want. and we're getting Ken Shamrock back. We're getting fucking Rob Van Dam. Scott Steiner is starting to show up more. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, AEW and WWE were just about to go at each other. They really did have the entire focus of the whole world. Then underneath them, there's New Japan Pro Wrestling, and in my own mental brain, tinfoil hat theory time. This is a stupid theory. Therefore, it is tinfoil hat theory time. Okay. And underneath that is New Japan Pro Wrestling and Impact Wrestling. Now, AEW and WWE is about to go at each other, and AEW back in December of 2018, Anthem Sports and Entertainment offered to sell Impact Wrestling out to Tony Khan, and Tony Khan said no. Right? Or did he? The reason why I'm saying that is because from this past December, AEW said no, and now at All Out, just before All Out to just after All Out, Impact Wrestling comes out and says we're going to pay all travel and accommodations for our wrestlers. And I'm like, wow. The WWE doesn't even do that. Okay. That's a lot. What else are you going to do, Impact Wrestling? And then Impact Wrestling was like, you know, we're trying to get a deal with ASX TV, but they won't give us a friggin' TV deal, so we're just going to buy them out and put ourselves on their channel and put our show on it, but we'll own them, so then instead of them getting a video library to show, we're just going to take it and put it on Impact Plus app. And then it's like, okay, so Alright then. What else are you going to do, Impact Wrestling? Then Impact Wrestling was like, okay, we didn't get the TV deal. We didn't get the TV deal we wanted. Pay you all to travel and sleep. We didn't get the TV deal we wanted, so we fucking bought the station, and we're going to keep our shit. And then Impact Wrestling is saying, okay, I think I'm going to buy Ring of Honor. This is Tinfoil Hat Theory time. But then Impact Wrestling says, I want to buy Ring of Honor. It's a rumor I heard from What Culture. It's on PROWRESTLINGREVIEWS.COM. But Impact Wrestling, if they do that, to me, is taking the attention away from everybody in a big way. That's a lot of fucking money to pour into a company when you think about what they're doing. They pay all travel and accommodations for wrestlers. They bought the TV station, Access TV, and they're keeping all their content to constantly improve the Impact Plus service. Then they went and would buy out Ring of Honor totally and fold it. So basically eliminate them. That's a lot. And I'm here like, that's a lot. How are you getting the money to do this? And then you go back to the original point where I had said that Tony Khan had offered to sell, Anthem Sports and Entertainment offered to sell out Impact Wrestling to Tony Khan, and he said no. Or did he? Me and my buddy, my brother, man, JH the Sage, he's a wicked dude. Check him out, PROWRESTLINGREVIEWS.COM. But did he really say no? No. Maybe he did. Maybe Tony Khan said, okay, I'll buy you, but you're still going to operate as your own thing. We're not going to tell anybody about this, but we're going to do it. And AEW is going to go and establish itself. We're going to establish ourselves as our own legitimate company. And then what we're going to do is, because to honor Impact Wrestling, instead of folding it all out, we're going to let it continue. And we're talking about buying out Ring of Honor 2. So we buy out Ring of Honor and we fold them into you. We make it seem like you bought them out. And then we bought you out. We bought you out. So we're giving you more work. Do you want to have this extra work? Ring of Honor will go and they'll get bought up by Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling will buy them out. And instead of stopping work there, you could continue on. Impact Wrestling continue on from 2019, because all that stuff would happen in 2019, and then in 2020 AEW could buy out and merge Impact Wrestling with them all of next year, and WOW would have went to AEW at the same time. That would immediately make AEW the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest in the world. It would. It really would. You take Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, and Women of Wrestling, and AEW, and put it all together. How many wrestlers are you going to have? But you know what? You make a list of people who you don't want. You pay out their contracts. They'd be gone. You keep who you want. And then with your talented roster, and then make a 2-hour show once a week and a 1-hour show once a week, right? There could be the 2-hour main event thing during the week, and then the 1-hour thing on the weekend. That's what AEW is talking about doing right now. But like Impact Wrestling is doing a lot. And it's just before and it's just after All Out. This is All Out. Impact Wrestling offered to sell it to AEW. AEW said no, or did they? It was before it was officially announced, but the plans were already filed. So then AEW established itself as its own company all of 2019 and into the second half of 2020. And then in 2019, Impact Wrestling, who was actually bought out and supported by AEW, but they're not mentioning that right now. They're just, hey, we bought you out. Do you want extra work, or do you want us to pay you out now? They're like, yeah, we want extra work. Say, okay, we're going to do this storyline with these 3 companies. Either that, or get extra money, or go now. We're willing to do this project. And then Ring of Honor right now was in talks to be bought out by Impact Wrestling. So Impact Wrestling buys out Ring of Honor, and then bought out ASX TV, which owns Fite Network, Fite TV, and they also pay all the travel and hotel accommodations to all the wrestlers. You know what I mean? And their own TV deal. And they buy out Ring of Honor. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. So I think AEW is behind it. I think AEW is behind it. I think Ring of Honor, they've been in talks about going out of business now for a couple of years, not only now. Like, and there's too many promotions. Not all of them can succeed. Like, one of them is going to have to go. And right now it looks like Ring of Honor is the one to bite the dust. I think it's good. It's too many. But AEW is really doing it. AEW is behind it, man. No, they are. They really are. I think they bought out Impact Wrestling, didn't tell anybody, continued, got Impact Wrestling to buy Ring of Honor, and they also bought ASX TV, which owns the Fite Network, and they're also paying all the hotel and travel accommodations for the wrestlers with Impact Wrestling. And then Impact Wrestling is going to buy out Ring of Honor and have all that shit, and they're going to continue on, and AEW is going to continue on, and at all, it was supposed to be Jericho versus Hangman Page for the New Japan Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship and the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. And same thing with Jon Moxley, United States Heavyweight Championship against Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. That didn't happen. So, okay, fine. So AEW is continuing on, and Impact Wrestling just got all that stuff, and they're continuing on. And then there's hardly anybody in the women's roster. There's not very many. I don't think there's 20. I don't think there's 20 official people listed as being signed. Is less than 20. The male roster right now is at least twice the size, like twice the amount of guys in the men's roster than the women's. But it's not because AEW is not trying. They really are. Or are they? I think that WOW is also going to get bought out because now Anthem Entertainment owns the channel that WOW has their TV show on, which also has the North American TV show for New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? So I think AEW bought out WOW as well, but they're not announcing it yet. I think they're going to announce it for Revolution in February because Women of Wrestling, their contract expires at early next year. So I believe they said January. Could be wrong, but I think it is January or February. And that's when Revolution, which would be a revolution if the Women of Wrestling got bought out by AEW. And for the World Heavyweight Championship, Nyla Rose would lose the belt. Nyla Rose would lose the belt to the champion of Impact Wrestling. But I think that's what's going to happen. I think All Out next year is going to be Impact Wrestling merging with AEW. I think, which is AEW buying it out. I think that Revolution in February is going to show AEW buying out WOW, and I think that Bound for Glory is going to show Impact Wrestling buying out Ring of Honor. So Impact Wrestling bought out Ring of Honor, AEW is going to buy out WOW, and then they're going to buy out Impact Wrestling late next year. And then you could effectively say that AEW bought out Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and WOW. Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and WOW were all bought out by AEW. I think that's what's going to happen. That's where I think Impact Wrestling is making a lot of money, man. And I think it's a joint partnership between Anthem Sports and Entertainment and AEW. I believe there's some kind of partnership going on there. There's got to be. There's got to be. There's no way there's not. Like, yeah. Imagine that. Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, WOW, and AEW all merging into one company. I think that's what's going to end up happening by this time next year. And that's what I think it's going to be. I think that Bound for Glory is going to be Impact Wrestling buying out Ring of Honor and merging all the titles. And then I think it's going to be, may not be Bound for Glory, but it'll be like very within the next 6 months. And then I would see maybe within the next year, you would see AEW buying out Impact Wrestling, and AEW would have also bought out WOW, because AEW already said that they have Cody Rhodes have 40% of our roster is known. At that time, we knew 52. So when you did the math, 52 is 40% of 130. 130 wrestlers, and at that point we knew about 52. Now we know about 65 maybe at most, and there's 130, so there's still another 65 wrestlers not signed that we don't know about. How is there supposed to be another 65 wrestlers? How? It's impossible. I'm not going to start naming off all the different promotions. I'll get sidetracked. But you know what I mean. There's like all kinds of promotions, man. How could you possibly have 65 wrestlers noteworthy enough to be associated with your name? I think those wrestlers are the top 30 or the top 35 from Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling being merged into AEW. And I think WOW, the women's division, is going to get pilfered, but the male division, they've already got enough guys. Yeah. So I think that's what's going to happen. If that happens, then AEW will have established themselves way more than WWE, because I think Shahid Khan right now, I think he might be looking at this. He's sitting back and he's looking at it. Billionaires are psychopaths. They're sociopaths. And they want to win. Shahid Khan is sitting there with upwards of $7.5 billion in active industries that succeed. And he already owns the NFL Jacksonville Jaguars. Then he owns a soccer team in the UK. Now he started his own professional wrestling promotion. They're sociopaths. I think Shahid Khan is actually sitting back and looking at this, and he's thinking, you know what? I don't care if I don't make any money at this. I can see the value in it, and I have $7.5 billion, and people working their asses off to make it work. So it'll keep going, and when it doesn't do well, we'll just pump millions and millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars into it. Like, I think that's what's going to happen. I think Shahid Khan, I don't think he cares about money at this point. I think he's representing the Middle East, and Vince McMahon is representing America, and it's going to come up in this big wrestling war. But AEW would be so huge. They'd be huge. They would have a huge library network. They can make their own. They'd be able to make their own freaking channel. Like All Out would, or Full Gear would be like a service announced where it would have all three merged into one service. You know what I mean? Make content, make content, make content, make content, make content. stockpile content, and then film it, and then label it, and then just put it on for cheap. It's just a show. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to. Just watch what you want. Because AEW, the storylines are told in the ring. The storylines are told when it happens. There's no invisible camera backstage. There's no participation marks, which is good. But that would be a huge service. WOW, Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling, all of their entire histories, with what AEW put together with all their weekly shows and everything. Like, for WW up until February, for Ring of Honor up until between probably like by early 2020. Ring of Honor will be bought out by Impact Wrestling by early 2020, and then Impact Wrestling will get bought out by AEW all out next year. And then Full Gear will be the announcement of the service that they have. They say the WOW, and then the Ring of Honor, and then the Impact Wrestling, and then the AEW archives are all here, and then they're all labeled, and everything is there, and you can access it and play it. And it's like this app on your phone that works wicked, and it's this service on your computer that works good. And we have partnerships with Fite TV and Bleacher Report Live and TNT in the United States and ITV in the UK and TSN in Canada, and people can get TNT in Canada as well anyway. Like, man. Because if that theory is not right, if we take that theory off, and throw it away, and we say this is bullshit, WWE doesn't have anything to do with it, man, AEW is not as great as you fucking think, maybe Anthem is pouring a lot of money into Impact Wrestling right now, who the fuck knows why? That's all it is. AEW is not behind all this other shit. You're just a fanboy going off crazy. That's what I think is happening, but that's the theory. But forgetting the theory, why would Anthem Sports and Entertainment pay all travel and hotel accommodations for wrestlers? Not even the WWE does that. Then they buy out AXS TV and put their show on AXS TV, which spreads it to an extra 50 million homes. And then they buy out Ring of Honor and merge it with them. And then Ring of Honor would be put into Impact Plus, that service, and that service would get heavy focus on being a lot better. You know what? You can pretty much do that now. If you have an app and a streaming service, and if the app is like, yeah, pay $10 a month, you can get our channel. Like, that would be wicked. I wish that you can get channels on demand. Like, there's only one channel I want. Is it possible to I want TNT and TSN. That's it. That's all I want. Is it possible to only get those two channels? TNT and TSN. But they're going to have to announce it soon. Like, when is AEW going to announce the TV station in Canada? It's heavily rumored that it's going to be TSN, but it's never been actually outright officially announced. And Cody Rhodes was finally, somebody asked him about it towards the end of August. Finally. Yeah. I don't know why Anthem Entertainment would pour that much money into Impact Wrestling. You stop and you think about that amount of effort and that amount of money. You're paying people to go everywhere and sleep everywhere. You're buying out friggin' TV stations that are huge to put the promotion on it. You know, you're keeping all your content. Then you're buying out Ring of Honor and putting all of that into its own service that would be even better. Like, you're really going like really hard to keep yourself alive, like to try to make it seem like your name is worth something. Like that's a lot of money for Anthem Entertainment to pour into Impact Wrestling, especially after AEW has just got as much attention on it and it's got as much money and legends behind it as it does, with WWE going fucking nuts because they're trying to, and going crazy because they're trying to take out AEW. They haven't had a competition in 20 years, so it comes along and they're like, oh my god, you guys are assholes, we must kill you. You're trying to fucking take food off our table. Fucking Seth Rollins. Friggin' Vince cocksucking bag licking idiot. WWE hasn't had friggin' competition in 20 years, and it was proven that the only reason why WCW went out was because Vince Russo and Ferrara caused the WCW to go from $80 million in the good to $65 million in the bad in 1 year. And then Turner merged with AOL, and AOL didn't want to have anything to do with WCW. So then WCW at the very, very end lost their TV deal. And then that was it. They sold it out. It's a lot of effort and it's a lot of money for Anthem to put into Impact Wrestling. Like, why would they do that? You got AEW there. You got WWE there. Reliving that old legend. If Eric Bischoff would have been the general manager of Wednesday Night Dynamite, if they did that, and it was genuine, then that literally would have been the second coming of the Wars. I mean, with the exception of Ric Flair, you do have the Four Horsemen in AEW originals. Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson. Well, there's Dean Malenko was wicked. He was in them for a long time. Ric Flair, no. Arn Anderson, Dean Malenko, Tully Blanchard, who were also the Brainbusters, but they were also two original members of the Four Horsemen. And all they need now is Ric Flair, and Ric Flair is appearing at some kind of cruise of Jericho, I think in January. I think there might be a couple of matches there, I'm not quite sure. I think I might buy that. But no, I don't believe, I do not believe that Anthem Entertainment is pouring that much money into Impact Wrestling. I really don't. You go on Facebook, you look up my name, Derek Lasaga, in the AEW, another one is WWE versus AEW War, or vice versa. Another one is WWE shit and so are you. It's just a stupid fun thing. Yeah, they're not pouring that much money into it. No. Anthem is not like paying people and fucking buying out stations and freaking buying out other promotions and making their own fucking channel for a wrestling company. Yeah, that did have a chance at one point, but that's pretty much done now. And then there's AEW with all its shit, and there's WWE with all their stuff. And those two are going at it. And New Japan Pro Wrestling is like making a lot of noise in the fucking background. And then in the middle of all that, you're going to say, oh yeah, Impact Wrestling's going to be #1. That's the epitome of throwing money into something. That really is. That's the epitome of throwing money at something because you want it to happen, not because it makes sense or would actually happen. What AEW is doing makes sense and can happen. It is happening. But like, I really think that AEW is buying out Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling and WOW. They're all going to merge into one company, and then they're going to keep enough people to work a second 2-hour show, and then they're going to pay more people. They can just do road shows. If they're willing to do road shows, they can do road shows or a house show. We could do house shows, yeah, if you want. Yeah, Impact Wrestling is... In Anthem Sports Entertainment doesn't see Impact Wrestling as that valuable. Especially after buying ASX TV. I mean, that wasn't cheap. No, that really wasn't. That was really expensive. Well, I think I don't know if it's outright buy or if Impact Wrestling owns the majority of ASX TV. But that's what they did. Which owns Fite TV. They also own Fite TV now, too. Man. And then they would own Ring of Honor. They would buy out Ring of Honor and shut them down. With a lot better TV deal on your own service, and you're trying to put it around the world and shit. And then WOW, their show is on one of our channels. This is what Impact Wrestling would be saying. And now WOW, one of your show is on one of our channels, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, your North American show, is on our channel. Okay. We're going to give you the most terrible time slot possible. Monday night, 2 a.m. Or 2 in the morning on Tuesday, whatever you want to call it. So Impact Wrestling would... Maybe they would make it where Impact Wrestling bought out WOW. Maybe Impact Wrestling would also buy out WOW to increase their women's roster. They would run 2 2-hour shows a week. You see what I mean? That's a lot of fucking money to pour into a company that really was in third and everybody thought was going to go out. Ring of Honor was even worse. There's too many companies. There's WWE, which has Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and then you have AEW, and then you have Impact Wrestling, and then you have Ring of Honor, and then you have MLW, and then you have NWA, and then you have Evolve, and then you have like Combat Zone Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. And then there's AAA, and then New Japan Pro Wrestling. OWE is. Yeah, no. Like, that's a lot of money, man, to pour into a company that's pretty much dead. I don't think Anthem Entertainment is pouring that much money into Impact Wrestling. I really don't think they saw it as that valuable. I think AEW has a lot to do with this. I think WWE is actually effectively choked out. Remember when Vince McMahon choked out a lot of companies in the 80s? I think Vince McMahon has officially done it again. I think Vince McMahon has officially choked out another round of companies, but it wasn't all because of him. I think AEW had a huge part to play in that too, because they came out of nowhere. And they just came out of nowhere and they were huge. So then with the two against all the smaller companies buying up everybody who's worth shit, the smaller companies said, we can't do it anymore. It's just not worth our time. So I think AEW then is going to buy out Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and WOW. Buy them all out and put it all into one service. It'll be the All Elite service, all Elite subscription, or All Elite Media. I'd call it All Elite Media. That's what I would call it. AEM. But I think that's what AEW is doing. I think Impact Wrestling is going to come forward and say that they're so huge. You know, We're paying for the people to move. We're paying for our own TV station. We're paying for we bought out Ring of Honor. We bought out WOW. We've got our own servers. We've got our own channel. We're so fucking huge. And then WWE is going to buy them out, all out, next year. That is my tinfoil hat theory.